everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Tech Unlocked podcast, the podcast where we unlock the latest tech news, leaks, and rumors, especially in the world of Apple and in the world of tech in general as well. I am one of your hosts, Benji from BenObi Tech, and I'm joined, as always, by Taylor from Mr. Smartwatch. And we're also joined today by another special guest, which we have been waiting to get onto the show for so long. We have Nikias Molina from... Nikias Molina on YouTube. Welcome to the show, Nikias. It's great to have you on.
I wanted to come before, but just life just got busy. We can talk about that later.
Yeah, for sure. But now you're here, so that's all that matters. We're excited to have you, and we've got some interesting news topics for today to cover, as well as a couple of questions that we're going to be asking you. Taylor, do you have anything you want to share before I kind of give everyone a rundown of what we're going to be covering today?
No, you can go right ahead, man.
Sweet. So today we're covering more iPhone 14 news. Big surprise. Nobody expected that. Literally, like every single episode, I think since the start, we've been talking about iPhone 14, and there's always something new that comes out. And it's kind of like going on a downward trend of like how good the thing is. So we've got some interesting news for all of you in a minute. We're also going to be talking a little bit about self-service repair, which has now been launched, and some people have had some experiences with it, some good, some bad. We're also going to be covering an update that fixes the Studio Display's camera. We've also got the EU back at it again with another anti-Apple law that they're trying to pass, so that's always exciting. And we've also got we're going to be talking a little bit about Wristcam and about the fact that you can now take video calls on Apple Watch, which is amazing. And we've also got a couple of Android news topics. Well, we've got one about the Pixel Watch, and then we've got Snapchat apparently making a drone, which is going to be interesting to talk about. So let's start off with our first story here. So we've got iPhone 14 Pro display panels reveal new pill and hole design replacing notch. So basically, the display panels have been leaked, and we've got a closer look at what the notch or the cutout's going to look like, especially on the 14 Pro models. What are your guys' thoughts on these? To me personally, I think they look a little bit better than I expected. Like, they don't look as bad. But I mean, of course, it's different for everyone. So what are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I'm excited to see it in person, honestly, and I'm excited to see more Apple's renders, I guess, to see how this would actually look in real life. I hope they all stay the same, so we don't get a pill and we get a notch. So like both designs, I want Apple to choose one or the other. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe this is going to be only for the Pro models, which is what the rumors are saying. But I'd still like them to only have one design, to unify design a little bit. But we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's good that they have like two different designs, just so they can kind of push the Pro models a little bit more, because they're like, oh, look, it looks completely different. So you're not only getting more features, but you're also getting a different design kind of thing. But yeah, I completely agree. I think it's nice that all the iPhones right now are like almost the same design, like apart from like the cameras and the colors and stuff. But yeah,
and that's a good thing
Taylor,
for me. I mean, I don't want the pros and the non-pros to be more physically different. We already have that stainless steel and that aluminum that differentiates them, and I feel like that's more than enough. So,
yeah.
Taylor, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Your turn.
No, I actually agree with Nikias. I kind of feel like having one and the other design-wise is just a little bit confusing. So I kind of wish it would be all the same. Just choose one and stick with it. But I guess we'll have to wait till next year to see what that's going to be like.
Yeah, because I mean, I think as of right now, Apple's kind of struggling to sell the Pro models as opposed to like the iPhone 13. I think is one of the best selling. I think it's the best selling iPhone, or one of the best selling iPhones Apple has right now. It's not the most expensive one, so it would make sense for them to kind of differentiate the lineup a little bit more, because as of right now, like, there aren't really many differences between the 13 and the 13 Pro. They both have the same processor, both have pretty much the same cameras, except the Pro models have that ultra wide. And then of course there's the difference in materials and stuff like that, but a lot of it is kind of the same. So what it looks like Apple's going to be doing is kind of giving the Pro models a few more extra features as opposed to the regular models, which kind of brings us into the next topic for today. And Taylor, do you wanna kind of read off the headline and kind of take away the next one?
Sure. So standard iPhone to miss out on 48 megapixel camera and A16 chip satellite connectivity features could launch this year. Um, I kind of feel like the 48 megapixel camera is like one. Sometimes it says that it's going to happen, and now it's not. So it's like I've been hearing so much about that. So I don't
Yeah,
know. What do
and
you
it
guys'
looks like
thoughts?
this. I think what Gurman is saying here as well is like the regular 14 is going to be missing out on the 48 megapixel camera. So that kind of, I think I don't exactly know why Apple is doing this, but they're kind of trying to differentiate the two lineups even more with like giving
Yeah,
it an older processor, giving it an inferior camera and things like that, which I think will push sales for the Pro models, but also I think may even like some people may even go with an older iPhone at that point. Instead of going with the 14, they'll go with the 13, which is a year older, but it's almost the same thing.
Yeah, something that I'm big into Apple Watches, you guys know. So I like to often make comparisons about that. So with the Apple Watch, we have the stainless steel and we have the aluminum models, right? They do the exact same thing, and people still buy stainless steel, and people do still buy aluminum. So I mean, something interesting that Apple could also think about is really make the Pro models something more luxurious than that it already is. So in terms of materials, I feel like materials could be something that they could really dive into. So make us a more, pro iPhone in terms of material. I feel like that's something very interesting, and it's something that has worked for the Apple Watch since its launch, right? So it's something that Apple could definitely think about, which I'm sure they've already done. But I mean,
Yeah, that's
for you guys, like I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Do you guys think the Apple Watch in stainless steel, this one right here, do you think it's stupid? No, right? It's just different material. I'd like to know
yeah.
your
I mean,
yeah,
because
for sure.
I see, yeah, I see your point there, and I think it would be interesting if Apple kind of took that approach with the iPhone as well. Because like personally, the reason why I went with with a not a stainless steel with a aluminum version is simply because it was cheaper,
Yeah,
and I wasn't really a big fan of like the stainless steel models, um, so I mean, I think yeah, there are still people who buy both, and it's mainly just materials that are the big difference. Like you've got a stronger display, I guess, with ceramic instead of I think it's Ion X. I think it's still Ion X on the
yeah,
Series 7. Um, and so yeah, I see people like with stainless steel or aluminum, but then like if you think about it, there are more people who have the aluminum model because it's cheaper. Um,
exactly.
and I think people are gonna like the iPhone 14. People are gonna buy the 14 model regardless of it being like
Right.
more inferior than the Pro models.
Mhm.
Um, but I guess it's gonna be interesting to see how Apple how this kind of approach to the whole Pro versus regular thing works out. With them being so different this year. Taylor,
Yeah.
what do you have any thoughts?
No, no.
All right, cool. So I guess we can move on to the next, which is another iPhone 14 news article. So there's a new video that's gone live with hands-on on iPhone 14 mock-ups. So this basically just like even confirms even more. But this is from Mako Takara, who is like 58% accurate apparently. So take this with a grain of salt. This could be fake. But I mean, according to like all the other leaks, these mock-ups kind of do line up with them. So what are your guys' thoughts? We've got a bit more of a look, I guess, here of the 14 and like the 14 Pros. No more mini model, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, what are your guys' thoughts?
All I can say is I'm sad that the mini is gonna go away. I know it doesn't sell well. Um, it's sad. Like it's an iPhone that a lot of people actually do love. Um, it's not a big part of the consumers, I know, but still, I'm sad to see it go. That's my thoughts on this thing. It's just that.
I
Exactly.
have a mini and I love it.
Exactly.
It's the best iPhone I've ever had. So it's sad to see it go. But I mean, I guess for sales, the 14 Max will do much better than the 13 mini ever did.
Yeah.
True. No, I honestly I'm with you guys on that. I know a lot of people who like the size, so I'm wondering, like, you know, if it's ever gonna come back, if they're gonna try again or at some
You know,
point. But
with the iPad Mini, Apple released the iPad Mini and they stopped selling it because it
yeah,
didn't do well in sales. And then, I mean, I don't know if the iPad
that,
Mini is selling well, but I adore the iPad Mini, and I know so many people that are in love
yeah,
with the iPad Mini, and I'm sure it's selling well. So, you know, design wise, like if what I'm saying here is like over the years, people find need for different things. Um,
right, right,
you know, like we've gotten such large iPads and such large iPads, then you know we got the 12.9 inch, and then people started missing the mini, so we asked for the mini again, right? And the mini is here again, and people love it again. So who knows? I think the iPhone, if they stop selling it, I'm sure the iPhone will come back, and it will be like a big thing, like iPhone 18
Yeah.
mini introducing smallest iPhone ever. I can see
right.
it
Yeah.
happen.
And I mean, I see the market for the 13 mini, or like there are people who want a smaller phone, but then like if Apple were to stop selling it, that would then I think boost sales for the SE model, for example, because the SE is like basically form factor wise, it's almost the same size. It's got a slightly smaller screen, an older design. But I mean, I think Apple, like if they do bring it back, I think they'll have to do something a bit different because they saw that it didn't work right now. And maybe like 3 or 4 years down the line, people are sick and tired of these huge smartphones and they want to go smaller. And so maybe the mini will make sense in a few years' time. Um, because I mean, iPhones used to be even smaller than the current iPhone mini, and people thought, oh yeah, no, these phone screens too big, and then now they're like, no, yeah, it's too small. So I
Yeah.
think yeah, time changes things, people change, and so who knows, maybe it will come back at some point. But I'm excited to see what the how many people will buy the 14 Max as opposed to the break like the Pros or even the 13 mini, comparing the sales between the two. I think it's gonna be very
Did you
interesting.
get? Did you guys see um John Prosser's video yesterday? By any chance?
I think I did. Which one was
Where
it?
the one that he pretty much told us everything as far as
Oh yeah,
pricing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh
What
yeah,
are you
that's
guys'
another
thoughts
thing.
on the pricing?
I don't know about the pricing. You know, I actually, fun fact about me, I
So,
actually try to stay away from leaks because Apple event day is like Christmas day for me. So there was some times that I was like always looking and desperate for looking like the latest leak and stuff. And now recently I've been, you know, kudos to John
you want
Get
to?
Prosser.
off
He's
the grid.
doing such a fun job in doing what he does. Um,
Dude, his videos get better and better every time I
yeah,
watch them. I feel.
his personality is
Yeah,
also evolving so much, and he's just so fun to watch.
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
is. Yeah, so I think what I was sharing in the video yesterday was that apparently all of the iPhones will basically get like $100. They cost $100 more or something like that.
Yep.
Which I mean, I guess kind of makes sense. Like Apple has had the same pricing for iPhones for since the iPhone 10 ish, kind of like maybe 10s because you've got the Max version. But like iPhone pricing has stayed pretty much the same for years, and with inflation and things, and like even the chip shortage, a bunch of other even part shortage in a way. I think it makes sense that they increased the price but I wasn't expecting it to be like $100 more, to be honest. Um, so it's
I don't
gonna be
think it
interesting to
makes
see how.
sense to pull up the price. I feel like Apple can do
Yeah.
it. People will still buy, but I don't think it makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I mean, if Apple didn't raise the prices, though, they'd be losing more money than they did like the previous generation, for example. Simply, I think it's because of inflation and like how prices
Yeah.
of everything's going up now. Like pricing for shipping things is going up and everything. So, but I think yeah, by raising it by 100, I don't think really makes much sense. I think if they raised it by like maybe 50, that would be okay.
Mhm.
Um, But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think people will still buy it.
Of course.
So
Perfect.
no matter what the price
Oh
is,
yeah.
like people
Oh
like, oh
yeah.
yeah, nobody's gonna buy the iPhone 10. It's like almost double the price of this iPhone. But people still bought it anyway. I bought it, so there you go.
I'm curious to
Anyway,
know. I'm just curious to know what you guys do as far as buying one each year. Do you guys trade in your old ones, or you just buy it straight off?
Benji, you want to start?
so normally, like I would normally buy them, and I would just keep the older one, just because like trading in, you lose so much money. Like if I were to like get a new iPhone and I wanted to like get rid of the one I have, I would sell it like to someone because I get way more money than I would with a trade in. But then with a trade in, it's a bit easier. So I've never done a trade in, so I mean I don't know how the experience is like. I've heard that it's a bit easier than like selling it myself because then you don't
Yeah.
have to go through scammers trying to message you and giving you fake money kind of thing. Um, but right now I'm on a contract, so I don't like probably when the next iPhone comes out, I'll either cancel the contract or like I'll figure it out. I think I'm probably gonna upgrade this year just because of I want to get the Pro model because I miss having 3 cameras because I had
Yeah.
3 cameras on my S10 and I loved it. But we'll see. We'll see when
Uh,
when the time comes.
when it comes to that, I'm just gonna tell you, man. Once you go pro, you're not gonna want to go back. Just saying.
Yeah, I only went with mini this year just because it was mini and I wanted to try a mini iPhone and I wanted
Yeah,
to
yeah.
tell people that they're wrong for hating it,
True.
which
I
they
don't know.
are.
If you want me to be honest, I don't use the telephoto that much. It's great to have, but it's not something that I use every single day. So I could go 13 or 13 Pro every
I
single year.
yeah, like I
But yeah, I
use
mean, it's
the
incredible.
yeah I miss having the telephoto with on some occasions, but then I think yeah most of the time I don't exactly need the telephoto. But another thing I love about the pros is with the ultra wide where you have macro mode, which you don't have on regular models. That's a really
Yeah.
cool feature that I'd love to use a bit more. And then you also got lidar, even though lidar isn't really that used.
Yeah.
For me, it's
With the
all about
iPhone.
ProMotion on the Pros this year, especially. It's really what makes the difference for me.
Mhm.
It's so big. It's amazing. Everything just feels so buttery smooth.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll also be getting back to the cameras. We'll also be getting like a 48 megapixel sensor on the pros this year, so that's going to be a big increase from the 12 megapixels we have now. And even
Yeah.
though it'll probably be compressed down to 12 megapixels anyway, but still, it's going to be way better quality than what we have now
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, if anybody else has any thoughts, if nobody has any thoughts, then Taylor, you can move on to the next topic we've got here.
Yay. So yeah, there's a lot of people talking about this. So self-service repair program has launched. Um, and honestly, like I've seen a lot of videos, people talking about it and actually doing it. I think it was iUpdate that I sent to you, Benji. That video was fun to watch. I don't know if you watched it the whole way through, but
Yeah, I
um,
watched the whole thing.
a lot of people were confused on how to do it and just the whole process. What are you guys' thoughts on it?
Nikias, you can. What are your thoughts on this?
To me, if you want to be honest, I haven't even looked up that much information. You guys tell me about it. Give me a
Yeah,
quick summary on this entire thing. So I know it's more expensive, right? To
kind
repair your
of. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
like if we're. I think iUpdate said it was like $7 more expensive than going with
Yep.
the Genius Bar because
Mhm.
you have to like rent the tools and everything. And honestly, like compared to like the iPhone repairs I've done in the past, I literally just like this was like when water resistance wasn't really a thing, so you didn't have like the seal you had to break through. So like you just
Mhm.
like lifted the screen up, removed the screws and took out the battery, and then took the screen off, and then put everything back in. But now it's a lot more complicated because everything's like sealed shut with glue and everything. And so basically what Apple does now is like you have to buy the screen, you have to buy the tools, you have to rent some of the like the bigger machinery to like heat up the glass and everything. So and like the instructions are like the user manuals, it looks like they're the user manuals that are used in like Apple stores and stuff that Apple employees use to fix devices. And so the whole process is like a lot more complicated than it should be, at least in my opinion. I think it could be a lot easier. Like they could make some user friendly instruction manuals. But like even looking at the website, it kind of looks like Apple didn't really care, and they're kind of like, okay, you want to fix your phone? Here you go. We'll just throw up a website. We'll pay this guy on Fiverr like $5 to create a website or whatever. I still don't know how they managed to how much they paid for the domain, because selfservicerepair.com, it sounds like something that somebody else would use. But like even if just looking at the website, like the quality of the images on here and everything, it's just like it's kind of weird. And then like yeah, you have to like order the parts, you have to order the right tools.
Yeah.
It's just at the end of the day, like even though it's gonna be like you get that experience of fixing the phone yourself, I don't think this is supposed to be a thing that's like made for consumers. Like this looks like something that was made for people who already have experience in the space of like fixing their own devices and who want to like just fix their own devices, or even like repair shops. They can go on here now and buy certified Apple uh parts
Yeah,
for their
exactly.
customer or whatever.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
it kind of makes sense, but also at the same time doesn't.
mhm.
But yeah, I don't know if
I
that
mean,
kind
if
of helps
it
understand
makes
it a little
total
bit more.
sense that that it shouldn't be user friendly, because if you were Apple, would you want people messing around? People that have no idea how to open up an iPhone, do you want them opening up an iPhone?
No,
No.
exactly.
So I mean,
And that's the thing. Like, honestly, and I understand, like, for the people like us who have that experience and want to do it for videos and whatnot, but for the average person to actually do it, like, what if they break it? It's going to be more money on them, and more
Because it
time
also
for them to
because
go
it also
in.
voids the warranty, which is another bad
Exactly.
thing.
mhm.
Exactly.
Apple's like, if you do this, it's all your fault if anything goes wrong. We're not going to
I
take
mean, it makes total
responsibility.
sense. It makes total sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like the new service repair program is great for repair shops, right? They've got everything they need and more,
Yep.
and it's actually certified by Apple, right? So if you're a repair shop, and you can say that we've got the official parts from Apple, and that gives a lot of value for a lot of people. So, I feel like it's great. I feel like people
Yeah.
and repair shops should be
And I
using it.
think Yeah, and I think a lot of people are kind of like, "Oh yeah, we should have the right to repair our own iPhone." And then Apple's like, "No, you shouldn't. Like, we know what we're doing. Here's okay,
Yeah.
we'll just give you this is how to do it. Just go do it yourself." But then people are going to try it and they're like, "Actually, maybe Apple was right. Maybe we should just go to Apple to get this fixed or get it fixed by a professional." Um
Yeah.
because I'm sure
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of people who are going to try this and they're going to break their phone and they're going to be like, "Oh, why did I do this? Why didn't I just go to the Genius Bar?"
Mhm.
And just like because I mean, even if you have Apple Care, for example, or like there's a lot of people that have phone insurance, it's gonna be way cheaper to just go get a replacement from Apple or get Apple to fix it.
Exactly.
And it'll
Yeah.
save so much time as well. Like for we saw from like me and Taylor watched the iUpdates video and it took him forever. Like he'd never repaired an iPhone in his life, I don't think. And so it took him forever. It took him hours to get this thing done. But I think yeah, this self-service repair is more for people who have already know what they're doing, who maybe already have the equipment to do this, and maybe they just want
Mhm.
to fix their phone for their friend or whatever, and they want to use genuine parts. This I think is a perfect solution, but it's not for like the average person who wants to just have a go at fixing their phone because you're gonna break it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
I've already broken iPhones trying to repair them. I don't think I would want to do it with any newer phones just because they're way more expensive than they used to be. So
Mhm.
I had a friend, Benji, you remember my friend Alex. He repaired, I think it was like an iPhone 5. And after he repaired the screen, the Touch ID wasn't working, and he had so many problems. So he was just like, "Yeah, no, I'm done." So when it comes to that kind of thing, like, I don't know, but
Yeah, like it would yes, it would be nice if Apple made it easier for you to repair your phone. Like they didn't make it as complicated of a process, but then if it is too easy, there'll be more people that do it, which means more people will break their phones, which means more people will lose money, and so it kind of like spirals. But at least now people can't say
I don't,
Apple's anti right to repair because they're like, here, you have the right
yeah,
to repair
yeah.
your own device. There you go. Here's the tools. Here's everything.
Now I haven't looked into it, but did they even like release any video to show more or less like what to do and like how to do it or anything?
No, they just give you the user manuals they use in the Apple Store.
Bruh, bruh,
Like we
come
can't be
on.
bothered to
Out of
put
all
any
the
money
videos,
in. Like they
out
didn't
of all
even.
the
It looks like they
videos that
didn't
they
even put.
release,
Yeah, exactly. It looks like they didn't even put any effort into this whole thing. They're just like, you want to fix your own phone? Okay, whatever. We'll just make this dodgy website. We'll just
yeah,
tell the people in China to send you the part or whatever, and then just do it
yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
iFixit
But
will come in clutch for some people
Exactly.
oh yes, for sure.
because they actually have videos that show how to do these things. But
But once again,
anyway,
like why would Apple release a video on how to fix the iPhone? Like they don't want you to do it. And it's not like
exactly.
they just put like a crappy website up. I'm sure that their planning was huge on this, and there was tons and tons of people, and their conclusion was to do it this way. It was all intentional.
Yeah.
Intentional.
And for some people, it'll work, which is, I mean, that's the whole thing with Apple. It just works. They want everything to be there that people can do. Like, yes, it's not easy to do, but you can do it if you want, if you have the expertise to,
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
which will save a lot of people a lot of trouble as well. Because not everyone's going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go fix my iPhone today. But anyway, so yeah, so that's Apple's self-service repair. Interesting stuff. We'll see how many people break their phones by doing this. Moving on, we have this is kind of a bit of a controversial slash political, I guess, topic. So the EU basically is claiming that that Apple is like doing something bad by like blocking third parties from using the NFC chip in the iPhone, and they basically want to force Apple into making it available for all app developers to use. I don't know what are your guys' thoughts. This is like one of many things that the EU
Dude.
is trying to regulate. They're trying to make Apple like add USB-C add USB-C to iPhones. What was the other thing we were talking about last week? Taylor, do you remember? What was it?
No.
Oh yeah, they want to like
It was,
make it so you can like basically add Google Assistant instead of Siri to your
yeah,
iPhone
yeah,
and use
yeah,
that as the so they kind of want to get rid of Apple's because like right now everything like the good thing about Apple is their privacy and also the fact that everything works together. But then the EU wants to kind of break that and be like, no, now you have to we're going to force you to allow third parties to basically like turn Apple into Android in a way. Just
Yeah.
like allow
So
anybody to do anything on your software.
yeah. So what we have to think with this is like the power that Apple has with
yeah,
and just
Of
these
course, yeah.
major companies, right? Apple has the power to not only destroy a bunch of businesses just by releasing one feature on an iPhone, that first, and then second of all, Apple also has the power to just buy those business and just incorporate what they do into a feature or a
yeah,
product or a service or a feature inside of a product or a service, right? So that by itself is like really, really powerful stuff, right? So the EU wants to regulate this stuff. Now there's the controversy. Now, should they do it? Should they not? Should they let these huge companies do whatever the heck they want? That's there's opinions for everything with this, right? We've got Square, which totally revolutionized the mobile payment industry, right? And then I don't think what is this called? Apple Pay, just receiving payments with Apple Pay. I don't think that's destroying Square completely, for example, which is what their main competitor would be, because Square is so much more than that, and Square does so many things, and Square actually has hardware devices. I feel like this destroys the tiny Square tile thing that you just it allows you to actually receive and send payments to. But yeah, I mean that's the controversy for me. In my opinion, It's good that the EU and just the entire world should be making these a little bit of ruling, but I feel like stuff like this is too aggressive. So I feel like a midpoint between the EU and Apple would be something that Apple, I guess, wouldn't be happy, but would be happy with. And then so like find a midpoint with both of them, right? Because it's Apple will just keep getting bigger and Google will keep getting bigger and all these companies will keep getting bigger. And at the end, if we keep doing this and allowing this, we'll only have like 5 companies in the entire world owning everything. Disney's getting bigger and Disney keeps buying more and more businesses and more franchises. It's like, what? Are we only going to have one movie franchise in the entire world that rules everything? I feel like there should be a balance between both, not too aggressive in any aspect. So yeah, and it's a good thing that we're having issues like this. I mean, a company that can actually do this kind of stuff and with one single feature being released on one device, destroying businesses, that's crazy to think about. And it's something that we probably never thought was going to happen if we were talking 30 years ago, 40 years ago. But now it's here, and now Apple adopting one feature destroys everything. So it's super interesting to see.
Yeah, because I think what Apple, well, not Apple, what the EU is trying to do here with this law about like NFC, they're trying to basically allow, for example, Google to add Google Pay to the iPhone, and you can use Google Pay instead of Apple Pay, kind of thing. Because as of right now, Apple's like the NFC chip in the iPhone and the Apple Watch is like very restricted. Like Apple has full control on what it's used for, how it's used,
I
which
agree with
is
that.
great.
I mean,
Which is great in
why
terms of
would we
privacy,
want
but
Google
then
Pay and Samsung Pay on an iPhone? It does not make sense. What it would make sense is to add Square, for example, adopted into Apple Pay, right? So Square owners have their website, have their business in Square on iPhone, and they can allow payments through Square and Apple Pay all in one. That would make sense, but not Google, not Samsung Pay. That's why Samsung and Google devices are for, right? Let them do their own thing and let Apple do their own thing. Let Apple support small businesses and big businesses, but let's not allow Apple to adopt their competitor in it. For me, that doesn't make sense. That's what I'm most clear about. But for Apple supporting other companies, I'm totally down for it.
Yeah, I think that would work as well. Instead of just making NFC kind of like an open thing for everyone, which would then bring privacy issues. But if Apple were to like reach out to these companies like Square and be like, hey, let's make a partnership. We can like, you can use your technology within our iPhones, that kind of stuff. We can use your payment system. So then, yeah, they work together in a way, kind of like, I guess Apple has worked with brands in a similar ways before, like selling some of their products in their stores and things like that.
iOS 15.5 beta firmware update fixes studio display. I saw a lot of people complaining about that, and I'm really happy that they finally fixed it. What are you guys' thoughts? I mean, I honestly like. I'm glad that like year over year they're getting better with the FaceTime camera. Um, although like I wish it was like as good as iPhones. I hope it gets to that point, but
the studio display did have a lot of problems. Like I
yeah,
checked it out. It was bad. Like it was very bad.
yeah.
Like my iMac camera is incredible. I like it. It's not as good as the iPhone, but it's really good. And I never connect a webcam anymore because it's just really good.
Right.
But just the fact that this iMac camera was better than the studio display, that had a problem. So it's amazing that it's fixed, and it's crazy that they can fix that with a firmware update, which is really, really good. And that they could actually solve that, which is awesome. Like just the fact that they could do that via software to everybody's homes and not have to return anything. It's amazing.
I'm really happy that they could, because a lot of people would be complaining if they couldn't. You know?
Yeah, because I mean, I think a lot of the problems with like Mac webcams in general is it's not exactly the hardware, but I think it's more the image processing. And so I think that's what was going on with the studio display. I don't exactly know if it's the same camera as the iPhone 11. I think some people were saying that, or one of the iPhones, they use kind of the same camera. And like if you used an iPhone 11, the camera is this good, but then like if you use the studio display, it's like what? it's supposed to be the same camera. So it looks like macOS isn't like, or I guess now it's got iOS built in the Studio Display. It's not like the image processing isn't the same. So I think it's good to see that Apple even like cared about fixing something like this. They weren't like, oh yeah, here's a Studio Display. If the camera sucks, it is the way it is. But it's great to see that Apple's been kind of listening to customers and fixing things with a software update like this. It's definitely cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Then we also got a new Ear Tag firmware update, I see, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still haven't figured out how to update because I've got like 5 Air Tags and I don't know if they've even updated.
You gotta make a video about that. How to update your Air Tags.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it looks like there's not really any way of doing it. It just needs to be connected to the thing. There's still no information about what this firmware update brings. People have just been saying, yeah, there's a firmware update.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I guess we'll see. In cool.
Thanks for telling us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was a quick news story to get through. So next up, Apple has had their like earnings call recently, and they report an all-time or March quarter revenue records across all categories except iPad. So all of Apple's products have been selling really well compared to recent years, and but the iPad has taken a hit. So why do you guys think that is?
Has it taken a hit? Is selling 7.6 billion iPads, is that a hit? So first of all,
I mean, they sold like 200 million less than last year.
Okay, so why is this? I've got a couple of reasons why. First of all, iPad Pro 2018, right? That such a good selling iPad, such a good iPad. Everybody owns it. Everybody loves it. My girlfriend has it since 2018. For me, that iPad was too good, even for its time, and it was so good and so revolutionary. Everybody loved it. And what happened? That from then, Apple didn't really need to push the iPad. What Apple needs to focus now with the iPad is, we all know, iPad OS. That will make the iPad worth it again. That will make buying an M1 iPad Pro worth it. That will make buying any iPad worth it, because if not, people are just like, I'm just going to buy that 2018 iPad Pro, right? I'm just going to buy that iPad Air. People don't have the necessity to buy the Pro models because there's no point on actually getting it, except for a really specific target audience, right? So that's why it's gone down, because there's no urge like the iPhone. The iPad is not the iPhone. Apple has the freedom on releasing a new iPhone with a couple new features, and people are freaking out about it. That doesn't happen with the iPad, right? The new iPad Air, it just got the M1 chip, center stage. It brought a couple new features. If that would have happened with the iPhone, everybody would have been freaking out about it, right? Center stage now on the iPhone, crazy, right? That doesn't happen. So, and apart from that, I mean, we're getting revenue records on iPhone, on Mac, on Watch, on services. And just gotta say, Tim Cook has been doing such a good job on actually doing a really, really good foundational business in terms of services as well. I mean, the services like from, App Store and Apple Music, and like it's gotten, everything has gotten so good. We got Apple Fitness Plus as well, Apple TV Plus, which, even though in Europe, services aren't really popular, in America, they really are. In America, people love Apple TV Plus. In Spain, in Europe, I've never seen an Apple TV Plus ad on TV, on the streets. And, that's crazy. That's crazy to think about, that we're getting record highs and Apple hasn't even tackled half of the world with their services, which is crazy. Right. So, people here in Europe, like if we talk about them about Apple Music, if we talk about them about Apple TV Plus, they don't know what that is. They think Apple Music is iTunes, and then they think Apple TV Plus is like a rental thing, right? People have no idea what this is. So it's super exciting to see when that stuff is going to come over to here. So,
yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, he's been doing so good with with like selling the products and everything. And I completely agree with you when you talked about the iPad. Like, I was in the position where I was like, which iPad should I get? Should I get the new one, the new iPad Pro, or should I go for like an older one, like a 2020 or a 2018 model? And like when you compare the features from like the 2018 iPad Pro and the new one, really like the only feature that you can take advantage of is the center stage and the better cameras, and maybe no, actually the display is even the same. So like there's barely any difference between
Well,
the
here's the thing. There really is a difference. There really is a difference. Um, iPad Pro 12.9-inch has the XDR display. The new
Oh yeah,
iPads have the M1 chip, but that stuff isn't really a big of a deal if we can't use the power and the display of the iPad, right? If we finally can video edit on the iPad, if we finally have a good file management, people will actually, a lot more people, because a lot of people already do, but a lot more people will transition from a Mac to an iPad, which Apple's not ready for that yet. But I feel like this year or next year, I really think Apple's going to do it. In my opinion, I really think we're going to be seeing Final Cuts in this WWDC. Fingers crossed. I hope. But if that happens, all the new features that Apple has been releasing to the iPad are going to make sense. And people will want to buy the latest and greatest because they want to have the latest power. Same thing that's happening to the Mac, right? And the Mac's a great example of this because when we got the M1 chip, everybody was like blown away at how fast it actually was. And it's like, how can this thing actually get faster, right? We got the M1 Max, M1 Pro chips. Like, we got such crazy chips, but on the Mac, it makes sense because people, like, you can just keep giving power to people on the Mac and they'll just take it in. On the iPad, you can give it and they'll be like, exactly, what am I going to do this for? I'm going with the iPad Pro 2018. Get the heck out, right? So it's just also crazy to think about that the iPad has gotten too good. Like, that's never happened before. The cameras are so good, but right, so it's
yeah.
awesome.
So I think I really hope at Dub we see some like really revolutionary changes to iPad OS, because yeah, people aren't going to be interested in buying the new iPad if it's almost the exact same. I mean, of course, the hardware is a bit upgraded, but like software wise, like I have pretty much the same features as the new ones. Like, of course, you don't have center stage and a couple of other features, so like people can't justify spending like $1,000 plus, depending on where you live, on like the newer iPad or like the 12.9-inch. Like, yes, it's nice to have a better display on the 12.9-inch, but still, is it gonna really? Is it going to change your life to have like a better iPad if the software isn't like that much different?
Exactly.
Because I mean, the processor in my iPad is the A12Z, I think, and it still runs like completely fine. Like, I've had no slowdowns, no bugs. Well, yeah, I mean, software bugs, yes, but no, I mean, like, there's not been really any slowing down whatsoever. Like, everything I've thrown at it, it's handled completely fine. And yeah, I think iPads have gotten too good to the point where the software is kind of falling behind at this point. I guess, Taylor, do you wanna move on to the next topic? We're kind of moving more into, well, now we're talking about Apple Watch.
Heck yeah.
We're talking about Wristcam. So
So
I guess actually, Nikias, seeming as you work for Wristcam, do you want to kind of explain to us how this like video calling on Wristcam works and why it's so revolutionary?
Yeah, so Wristcam has been working years for this moment, and it's everything that they worked for till this moment. So, we brought video calling to the Apple Watch, and it's so awesome, and you just have to feel it and see it for yourself to see how awesome it actually is. Wristcam is already awesome by itself because the Apple Watch, the cellular model, it allows you to just leave your iPhone behind at home and just go out and enjoy what you actually want to enjoy. So for me, I go on hikes and I don't want to bring my iPhone with me because I'm somebody that just gets on Instagram and Twitter fairly easily, especially since it's my job as well. And I just want to disconnect completely, right? So I just leave my iPhone behind. But one of the things that I didn't like about that is sometimes I go to really beautiful places and I want to get photos, right? So that's Wristcam now allows me to do that. And now introducing video calling to the watch, I can even do video calling on there. So, we shot the ad I actually directed the ad that you guys are seeing, and we went over these useful use cases, and we believe it's going to be so useful for so many different people. So, from somebody getting on a wave on surfing, or somebody running, or just somebody at the grocery store, getting, hey, did you want this wine or this one? Or did you want this pasta or this pasta, right? It's going to be super useful for so many people. It's not FaceTime. It's video calling. It's with our own software. One day it might be FaceTime. We'll see. But as of right now, it's just video calling, and it works really, really well. We're currently on early stage, so people can actually apply. We're in early access, so you can apply for the early access. It's limited, and once that early access is gone, it's gone till we release it to the public. We want people to test it first. People might experience some bugs, but I had a video call yesterday on the watch, and it worked flawlessly, which is awesome. Yeah, it's really, really cool. It's really, really awesome. And being part of this is just such an awesome experience. It's so cool.
Yeah, because honestly, I've never been, well, I guess until kind of now, I've never really been a fan of kind of those rumors that are like, oh yeah, we were gonna have not a webcam, but they're gonna add a camera to the Apple Watch. Because I was like, you're gonna be video calling, and you're gonna be like this, or you're gonna be looking down. But I think the way this is implemented, with the fact that it has not only the front camera where you could do video calls, but also the other camera where you could take pictures, I think that is really cool. Because you could be out on a hike without your phone, or maybe you're in a situation where you can't take your phone out, and so you just quickly snap a picture. Or even I think video calling is really revolutionary as well, because you don't need to have your phone with you all the time.
Exactly. And
you don't need to be holding an extra thing either.
Exactly. And even if you do have your iPhone on you, it makes sense to just answer it on the watch. Same thing as phone calls, right? Sometimes I do have my phone with me, but I still answer with my watch. We don't expect video calling on the Apple Watch for people to do video conferences with, or for people to actually do full-on video calls on the watch, which you can still do. But we expect people to just simply hop on quick video calls and just have tiny conversations, right? It's on your wrist, right? Your wrist is going to get tired. We don't expect people to be like this for 5 minutes, but for a quick call, or for a quick, I'll be home for a little bit, or look at this view. That's why video calling is here on the Apple Watch. The people who have tried it out, it's really awesome to see. And first of all, it's the most futuristic thing ever, right? I mean, answering a video call from your watch, it's so cool. And it's also really cool that it's in the form of a band, right? So, who knows, will Apple eventually release a camera on the watch? That's a whole different topic. But for me, I don't think they should. If Apple does release a camera on the watch, they should release it on a form of a band. It just makes so much more sense.
I think so as well.
Watch is going to get bulkier. A lot of people just simply don't want a camera on their watch. But for those people that do, they should have the option to do that. And until then, you're going to have Wristcam, which is incredible. And it's also made for the Apple Watch. It's certified by Apple. So we're actually working with Apple to create the band. So it's basically get the same experience.
That's awesome. And who knows, maybe one day Apple will buy Wristcam and it'll just become
That's the plan, man. That's the plan. That's what we all want, right?
That would be sick.
That would be great.
Because I was thinking about it as well yesterday. I was thinking actually it makes sense to have if you had a camera on the Apple Watch, yes, if you put it inside the actual watch, you can make it bulkier. There's people who have privacy issues, no, I don't want to have. I already have a camera on my computer, on my phone. I don't want people from China to be hacking into my watch or whatever, or the FBI to be hacking into my watch. So I think this is an easier option, because if somebody wants to have a camera on their watch, they just go buy the band, and then they have a camera on their watch.
Exactly.
So yeah, look, I think it's really cool.
If Apple wants to add a camera, it's not easy, right? So this is the actual camera module that lives on the Apple Watch, right? And if Apple wants to fit this on the watch, it's not going to be easy, right? This has an independent battery, so it doesn't consume the battery of your watch, which is very important. Actually, the most important thing, main issue, but the thing that people are most worried about is I don't want my camera to waste my Apple Watch battery. It won't do that. And also, it's extremely lightweight. It's only 22 grams. So, people are like, it's bulky and it's heavy. Well, it's actually not heavy at all. It's just 22 grams, which if you still want to go running with it, you still can, because this thing is extremely lightweight and the battery of it is also great. So, I mean, I can't wait till, Gen 2 or Gen 3. Like, just imagine when this actually shoots 4K video. Imagine when this actually shoots 4K ultra wide. Like, that changes everything, right? There's going to be moments where you're just not going to want to shoot photos on your iPhone in certain occasions, and you're just going to do that with a watch, which is what it currently is, right? There's so many occasions where I just shoot photos on my watch just because it makes sense. And once you actually start using and owning a Wristcam, you'll find so many useful use cases on having a camera and shooting video directly on your wrist.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. Taylor, do you have any thoughts that you want to share?
Man, like who would have thought who would have thought of video calling at all? Like years ago, we never thought of having FaceTime and all this stuff on phones and stuff. Never mind an Apple Watch or any kind of watch, So to see this come about and develop year over year, it's going to be great, And from what you say, man, I'm really hopeful that the next generation is going to be awesome.
Yeah, and there's still so many features which I can't say, but like already included in this generation that are so awesome to come. Like, there's so many more useful features that are going to come. There's another feature coming out next month, which is so incredible. And that's already in the same version, right? So people will only have to update their Wristcam, and they already have they're going to have the feature for free. And same thing goes to video calling, right? So like, there's so much more to come already in this generation that people should be excited about.
Now, this kind of thing is only for Apple Watch. Like, they don't make it for any other smartwatch, right?
Yeah, so there's plans on making it compatible with other watches, but the plan as of right now is to have on the Apple Watch.
Just start.
Yeah, and I mean, most people who own a smartwatch own an Apple Watch anyway. At least from what I've seen.
There's
a big market.
There's big opportunities in other markets. My girlfriend's dad, for example, owns a Garmin, which he's big into sports, and he doesn't want to bring his iPhone with him. But so if he still takes his iPhone with him because he wants to shoot photos, because he goes biking and he goes in these beautiful mountains, and then he's not brought his iPhone a couple of times, but it's like, man, I go to these awesome views and I want to be able to take a photo. So if Garmin was available on Wristcam was available on Garmin, for example, it would change a lot of more people's and will open up so much. So there's so much that Wristcam can do and we can do, and it's we know it. We're on it.
That's awesome. Yeah, it would be really cool to try one out someday, and it seems really cool.
Dude, I can't wait. I would love to try one out and review it on my channel.
Yeah.
Have you talked about Mr. Smartwatch? Have you reviewed it in the channel? Have you talked about it?
No, I haven't yet. No.
Dang it.
You should. I mean, assuming as the video calling thing just came out, just make a video.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
You can now video call on your Apple Watch.
I'll wait on the video tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, I better wake up and see that video on my subscription.
You have one day, Taylor.
One day.
This is embargo.
So moving on, unless you guys have any other comments about Wristcam or anything.
No.
Sweet. So Snapchat or Snap, the company that makes the app that you send pictures and stuff. Well, they decided to make a drone. And like, when I first saw this the other day, I thought it was an April Fool's Day joke, because I was like, this looks so strange. And I mean, for the price, I don't think it's exactly worth it. But I don't know, Nikias, have you seen or heard about this drone? Or
yeah, I saw it the other day on Twitter. It's I wanna read more about it, to be honest, and I'd even love to check it out. It's only available in the US and France, which is weird.
Yeah, it's really bizarre that it's. I don't think it is. It's really bizarre that it's like, out of all the countries in Europe, it's available in France.
Yeah, it's weird.
Maybe the drone market in France is bigger than the UK or Spain. I don't know. But like there's very limited like information on this drone, and like it starts at $250, which is quite expensive for what it looks like it can do. Like I think you could get like a DJI Mini SE for almost the same price, and the thing's going to do way more than this will ever do. Um, and I guess this is kind of more of like a just throw it in the air, take a picture for Snapchat kind of drone, sort of like
I,
what the
I
Snapchat
don't
spectacles
I don't
were.
understand what the point of this drone is. If you want me to be honest.
Yeah, same. I don't.
Yeah,
It's gonna be interesting. I think it's one of these other products that Snapchat makes that's not gonna sell well.
Yeah.
Because I mean they've tried with the spectacles. They're a cool idea, but like the idea was implemented wasn't very good. Like you could only take pictures on Snapchat and things like that.
Yeah.
I guess these
So
products are made just for people to use Snapchat more.
yeah.
But
So one of the things, and sorry to plug Wristcam again, but literally the Ray-Ban glasses, for example, great product. The Snapchat spectacles, it's also a great product. But the problem with the glasses, and is that you're gonna take off your sunglasses when you're indoors, right? Or when you're in a specific place, you're not gonna want to wear sunglasses because it's. I mean, for me, it's a little bit weird to wear sunglasses indoors, right? So if you want to,
yeah, same.
there's certain moments where it just doesn't make sense to wear sunglasses. Um, Instead, this is always on you. Anyways, continue. Sorry for playing your Wristcam again. Just
Yeah, makes complete sense. I mean, yeah, so I don't really see the point in this drone either. It's too expensive for what it is. I think if it were like $100,
yeah.
then cool. Because I think like DJI even makes like $100 drone. I think I can't remember what it's called, but and it's like bigger than this. It does more. And
Spark, right?
I don't think it's a Spark. I think it's a Trello, like something like that. I found out about it the other day. It has like a 720p camera, so it kind of sucks. But yeah, there's
What
so
drone?
many other options that are so much better
Mini
than this.
SE?
Yeah, the DJI Mini SE I think is the best option
That's 300
if you want
bucks.
a drone that's small. I think it's two. Oh, maybe I'm just looking at UK pricing. It's 279 here, but yeah,
Yeah, okay.
still, it's almost the same price. Like for $50 more, you get
And it's the
a
best drone
drone
in
that
the
can
market.
actually.
Yeah, the image
It's so
stabilization in DJI is incredible. So
yeah, exactly. And compared to this Snapchat drone, like Snap has never made a drone in their lives.
yeah.
I don't know if maybe they've acquired a company that makes drones, but still, like you're way better off spending a little bit more getting a DJI drone instead of this.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but Taylor, do you have any thoughts?
No, I honestly like the only thought I really have is honestly that like Benji, you and I were looking at this the other day, and I just think it's super weird design wise. And I mean, I personally just would never buy it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'd
Between
rather just
design
spend a little bit more.
and price, is it really? Is it like honestly? Ask yourself, does it really live up to the hype and that price?
What hype? Nobody's even hyped about this thing now.
No, nobody.
You
Yeah.
know?
Oh, here's the other DJI drone. It's the DJI Tello. The Tello
What is it
Rise.
called?
It's the DJI Tello Rise, RYZE Tello Rise.
Oh yes, this thing.
Yeah. So it's like really small. I think this is a way better option than that. And this
Yeah.
is supposed to be a toy, so it'll probably take better pictures and videos than the Snap drone. But anyway, that's enough roasting for that drone. Taylor, do you want to move on to the last topic we have, seeing as it's smartwatch related?
Sure.
And then
So
we're gonna move on to some
Google,
questions.
yep. So Google Pixel Watch Bluetooth certification hints at 3 possible models. What do you guys think about this? I honestly like I was hyped for one just to see like how it is. compared to like Samsung and stuff. But to see now that they're gonna make 3 models, it's pretty cool.
So I think it's gonna kind of be like with the Apple Watch, where there's multiple models. Like as I'm reading here, one of them could have cellular connectivity. So you've got
Mhm.
the regular GPS one, and then you have um, a cellular model, and then maybe a more premium model, like a stainless steel model. So I think that's kind of what those 3 will be. Or they might follow. Yeah, they're also saying that it might follow the pattern set by Pixel phones. So maybe they have like the standard, the Pro, and then they have kind of like a budget model.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Nikias?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for a brand to release more than one model for different materials. It makes sense that some people want to pay more for a more luxurious model, and then some they just want the cheapest and to have the same features. So it makes total sense.
Yeah. So who knows? We'll probably see the Pixel Watch A, the Pixel Watch, and Pixel Watch Pro. Just copy what the Pixel is currently doing. But yeah,
We
I mean, now that they've like registered this whole Bluetooth stuff, it looks like the thing's getting closer and closer. I think they're saying Google I/O might be when they're announcing it, and then the launch will be later on in the year. So I'm excited to see what Google has in store with their smartwatch, what their take is on the whole
yeah.
smartwatch thing, and how it's going to compete with the Apple Watch. That's going to be
Yeah.
interesting to see as well.
I don't think there's a like I don't think the Apple Watch will have a competition on the iPhone users of it. I highly doubt unless they do something crazy, which I'm thinking, which I'm sure they don't. Feel like it's going to be interesting for competition in the Android market of it, but I don't feel like the Apple Watch will have a competitor in the long run for the iPhone users. I mean, there's really
Yeah,
no point, and there's really nothing that a brand can do to compete with the Apple Watch in terms of iPhone users. I mean, having the Apple ecosystem built in the watch, there's nothing can compete with that, right?
I agree. Yeah, like I tried to use an Android smartwatch on iOS, and it's like it's nowhere near as good as like an Apple Watch or using the Android Watch with an Android phone. So I think even if the
Yeah,
Pixel Watch were to work with iPhone, which I honestly I don't think it really will work with iPhone. I think it's going to be kind of like an Android only thing, and who knows, they might even make it just Pixel only, kind of like with what Apple's doing. But they'll probably sell a lot less of them if they do that. So, but yeah, I think most people are going to buy this. They're going to buy it with an Android phone. They're not going to buy it with an iPhone. I think, yeah, Apple Watch is too good with the iPhone. Um,
yeah, for sure. For sure.
yeah. So I guess those are all the news stories we had to cover. Now, Nikias, we want to ask you a couple of other questions that are kind of tech related, and
Yes,
stuff like that. Starting off with the first one, and you've probably seen the news of this. Like everybody knows about this at this point. So Elon Musk apparently has or is buying Twitter. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? What do you think is going to happen now that Elon will be in power of one of the biggest social media platforms in the world?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody is free to do whatever they want with their own money. And people criticizing Elon for not donating it to charity, like it makes sense as well. He already does help a lot. And if he was somebody that um, just didn't do anything for society, I understand those people, but he's done so much in terms of technology, and he's a genius, and he's one of our main geniuses, at least of you know our age. We're only going to see a couple more geniuses, right? So I mean, that by himself, being able to live in the same generation as Elon and all the things he's done, and the electric car community, and like space, like he's done so much. He can do whatever that he wants with his money, and I'm sure he has a plan for buying Twitter. It's not for the memes. I mean, he's buying this for so much money, which it still is a lot of money for him, right? It's not like he's buying it for a couple million. He's buying it for tons and tons of millions, right? So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, he can do whatever he wants with his money. He's donated a bunch to charity as well. So, like, when you have this much money, you have the power to do such things, and nobody has had the guts to do what Elon is doing. So, Elon, is a free person. He can do whatever he wants with his money. That's my opinion, I guess. It's weird that he's buying Twitter, and he could buy a bunch of other things, but he decided to do Twitter. I guess we'll have to see what he wants to do with Twitter, since Jack Dorsey left, it was interesting to see what was going to happen with Twitter. Jack Dorsey went to Square. He's been doing amazing at Square. Now Twitter was left in an awkward situation because his CEO left, but now Elon is the new CEO. So I'm interested, honestly, what Elon's going to do with it. And I'm just going to sit there and watch.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. And I don't really like all those people that are like, oh yeah, why did Elon spend so much money on Twitter? They could have donated it to charity. But I think like the fact that he bought Twitter and like the things that he said that he wants to change on Twitter, I think will have a bigger impact than anything else that he could do with that money. Because I mean, he's gonna bring freedom of speech to Twitter and a bunch of other really good things that I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with, of course. But it's going to be interesting to see what kind of fresh outlook he brings to Twitter and how it's going to change, if it's going to change for the better. Because as you said, he's done so much for mankind, and now that he owns a social media platform, he can, I guess, magnify that even more and bring and make even a bigger impact. Because I mean, social media is something that everybody uses. That's where a lot of us build our opinions on. We see something on social media, and that kind of spirals into like research and things like that. So, yeah, it also is scary because that means there's like one person controls the whole platform in a way. He can do whatever he wants with it. But I guess we've also got Mark Zuckerberg that kind of does a very similar thing with Facebook.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, I'm going to leave Twitter now that Elon Musk is leaving. Then you should also leave Instagram and Facebook because Mark Zuckerberg is a lot more dodgy than Elon is, at least in my opinion. So
I wanted to ask you, Nikias, when Tim Cook retires, who would you like to see replace him?
I just think.
I think
I feel like
interesting.
Craig Federighi is a good option. He's good in front of the camera as well. He's got a really charming personality that the community loves. He's been with Apple for a long, long time, and I feel like he'd be great as Apple CEO. And I feel like he will be the one.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Throw me more questions, Benji.
I completely agree. I think Craig Federighi would be a fantastic option. If not Justine, that would be cool. All right. So the next one is kind of going back to talk about cameras on Apple Watches and Wristcam. Do you think the Apple Watch ever will have a camera?
On the actual watch?
On the or like on a band? Do you think Apple will ever kind of take that approach?
Yes.
Yeah, and how do you think they'll implement it if they did? Would it be like in the band or? Well, I mean, I guess we kind of already talked about this. I don't know.
As a band, I doubt they'll be releasing it on the watch. It just doesn't make sense because we need two cameras if you want that to actually make sense, and you can't fit two cameras on the actual watch. First of all, second of all, the angle, right, that the watch Wristcam gives you. You see how this has a different angle than it would be right here. That's why it's a little bit risen.
Yeah.
To give you a better angle. That can't happen if they place that on the watch. That's why it makes sense to have a separate band as well. So the Apple Watch, in my opinion, will never have a camera on the band. It does make a lot of sense here.
Yeah, for sure. Where do you see Apple in 10 years?
Oh man, I see Apple a lot more service driven. And something that Apple users take for granted is software being free.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that software should be paid as Apple users, but it's something that we get for free that is really exciting every single year. For example, watchOS 7, right, this year got more features than the actual hardware did with the Apple Watch Series 7. And that's crazy to think about. Think about that. Like, there was barely anything new on the Apple Watch Series 7. So software was more exciting than hardware and software is free. So I feel like the Apple Watch and just software in general, they can do so much with the iPad. They can do so much with the iPad in terms of software. So I'm seeing Apple in 10 years for software to be huge and services to even be bigger. And in terms of hardware, I'm very excited to see where Apple goes, what new Apple products will be released, right? I'm excited for the glasses. I'm excited for the car. I'm excited about the iPhone as well. You know, people say that the iPhone has reached its peak, and smartphones have reached its peak. And while that is kind of true as well, the iPhone can still not compete with, you know, with a camera, with like a DSLR. They can't, right? The battery still only lasts one day, right? So it really hasn't reached that peak at all. So, you know, I'm excited to see the iPhone being an actual competitor to a DSLR, to a GoPro. I'm excited to see the battery lasting a bunch of days. I'm excited to see how the iPhone connects even more to my Apple ecosystem. I'm excited to see, I don't know, maybe the iPhone could work with the iPad in one way. They could work together in one way that we're not expecting. Like, there's so much room for improvement in so many different ways. And I'm here for all of it.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think software is going to be huge over the next couple of years. And I guess you were talking about like iPads and iPhones reaching their peak and things like that. What do you think Apple can do with the Apple Watch to make it better? Because I think we've kind of reached the peak with the Apple Watch where like what else can they do with it? Like yes, they can add more
Yeah.
health sensors and stuff, but what do you
Well,
think they could do to the Apple Watch to make it better?
I mean, saying, yeah, they can add more health sensors. I mean, let's think about that for a second. I feel like there's so much in terms of health that we could do. In terms of battery life, there's so much more that it could do, right? In terms of apps, I feel like Apple has still not found so interesting apps on the App Store, on the watch, right? So I feel like either Apple makes them, or Apple helps developer makes them, or Apple develops a technology that allows developers to think of more ideas. But I feel like people don't really use watch apps. For that, I'm interested to see how the iPhone develops, how it's more independent, because it's currently independent, but it can definitely be more independent, right? So a lot of people still have that urgency of bringing the iPhone with. So there's so much, you know, Wristcam is a clear example. I mean, just adding a camera on the watch, there's so many more, first of all, features that can be released, and so much more useful use cases that the watch can be. In terms of grabbing really specific use cases, I feel like there's so many people that can, you know, in terms of sports, there's nothing really on the Apple Watch that tackles sports in terms of soccer, basketball, whatever, right? So just imagine if you throw a hoop on basketball, it will measure something that will make your throw better. This is just a stupid example, but I feel like Apple could tackle a lot of different people, right? Surfing, I feel like Apple could add even a built-in more in-depth surfing workout in the workout app, right? In terms of meditation, there's so much more that the Apple Watch can explore. You know, the what's the app called now again? For breathe, mindfulness, right? We only have reflect and breathe. Those are only 2 exercises. There's so much more. The sleep app on the Apple Watch, I hate it so much. The third-party watch apps are so much better. So there's so much room for improvement there. The activity app, we've had 3 activity rings for the past, since its launch, right? It'd be interesting to see a new activity ring coming in the mix, right? Whether that be even nutrition. What if the Apple Watch could automatically know what you've eaten throughout the day? I know I'm talking about the impossible, but in order for good ideas to come, you just got to throw crazy ideas out there. So maybe Apple does release a nutrition app, but you just have to manually put that. Maybe that's a thing, and maybe people are going to be happy with that. But there's so much stuff that Apple could do. Maybe cooking, like maybe Apple could tackle cooking in some way. Maybe Apple could even release a cooking service, right? Cooking TV Plus, whatever it's called. And then you'd have, whenever you put on your iPad, your recipe, then automatically the timers would pop up on your watch. That's a cool idea.
Right.
So
right.
there's so many cool ideas that Apple could tackle on the watch. So many.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is going to be software. I think there could be a lot more apps on the Apple Watch because I mean, yeah, I'm one of those people who doesn't really use the apps on my Apple Watch, but that's because there's barely any like decent ones. Like you don't have WhatsApp, for example, which is one thing that I use a lot. I use it probably more than iMessage. Like yes, you can respond to messages that come in from your phone, but still, it's not as good. And there's so many different apps that could be added to the Apple Watch that just aren't. And I think Apple isn't really tackling that a lot more. Like they could even do so much more with watch faces. Like a lot of the watch faces on the Apple Watch don't allow you to add that many complications. And like
Yeah.
I love to have as many complications as I can on my watch, but I still want it to look good. I don't want it to look like this that I've got right now. But so yeah, Apple can definitely improve on with the Apple Watch on software, but I think yeah, hardware wise, it's only like improvements that they can make. There's not really major features that they can be adding.
Yeah, imagine if Apple decided to allow certain developers to release their own watch faces. Like imagine if they allowed Disney to open up
Dude, that would be
watch
sick.
faces. Like we've gotten the Toy Story ones, which are awesome. Imagine if they could allow that to every single movie release, theatrical release, or series on Disney Plus, right? We got WandaVision coming out this Friday, which I'm not WandaVision, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, right? Very excited for that movie. Just imagine 2 weeks before being able to have that as a watch face, just getting hyped up for the movie, walking in the movie theater, ready with all of my, every time I pull up my wrist, I got Doctor Strange with like this crazy animation.
Right.
They should have let Disney do that. Imagine if, the problem with that is that we got Hermes and we got Nike having their own watches with their exclusive watch faces. For me, sure, the Hermes one makes sense because it's a luxurious watch. You've got a band that is, made out of, it's handmade, whatever. The Nike one, you can afford a Nike band. So the only thing that's stopping Apple from allowing third-party developers to create their own bands is, for me, it's Nike, for example, because they should just get rid of the Nike watch. They should still sell the bands, but they should allow everybody to use that Nike watch face, and then people can just buy watch face. Or maybe you can simply, whenever you buy a Nike band, you've got access to the Nike watch faces. So you simply scan a QR code or scan via NFC, and that would allow you to do that.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think it would be pretty. Now that you were talking about that, it would be really cool to see like Disney doing a partnership with Apple and doing like the Apple Watch Disney edition and do some Disney bands and stuff. That would be pretty cool. But anyway,
that would be sick, actually.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on the Apple Watch Series 8 and the rugged version that's going to be coming out?
That's amazing.
What are your thoughts? Let me ask you this. What are your thoughts and hopes for it?
I just want a watch that is thicker, a watch that would allow that to have more battery life, to have a way much more resistant display, materials. It's just for somebody that just wants to bang their watch. Always, it's for those people who wear screen protectors and cases on their watch, which are disgusting. That would allow them to buy that rugged watch. I know, Benji, you have one. Don't show me. Do you have a case?
I'm anti Apple Watch case.
Okay, good. Everybody should be, right? A watch doesn't deserve a case. But for those people who are scared, or for those people who wear one because they are mechanics and they're banging their watch every single time, or maybe people, whatever it is, like so many people are so different, right? So it just makes sense for a lot of people.
True.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the rugged version, like it's probably not going to sell like amazingly, because of course it's not a watch that everybody needs. But it definitely will be nice to have that option for the people who need to have that more rugged, that more powerful, powerfully built watch. It's really cool. But next up, what do you think is like the next big thing, not just for Apple, but like for tech in general, besides of course AR and VR, which are starting to become a big mainstream thing now?
That's a good question. And you basically stole my answer because I really think AR more than VR is, if people, because the technology is already there, if businesses start adopting it everywhere, it's just gonna make so much sense. So I was gonna say AR. You stole that
I
from
guess
me.
you could go with that idea. It's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Just wanted to see if you had any other ideas of anything else that could, like, who knows, maybe smart home could be more of a mainstream thing.
Smart home. I mean, and in all seriousness, now that you're saying that, I mean, smart homes and having a smart home, having a, like, literally having a smart home, not having a couple of smart home devices like I do. I have that, that light is smart, my fish tank is smart, but literally everything in your house to be smart, for that to be a thing in a budget, for people to actually decide, do I want a smart home or not? For that time to actually come to when actually creating a smart home is actually affordable, that's going to be big, because it's going to be so useful to simply say good morning and your blinds to go up, your coffee to start making, for that to be actually affordable and the same price as just creating a normal home. That's going to be big, and I'm so down for that.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
that'll be really cool. Like, you just go buy a brand new house and you get the option. Do you want a smart home or do you want a normal home? This could be like $100,000 more, but
Yeah, I don't know if you guys watch my video where I give you an update on my life. I don't like the home that I'm currently living at, and I
I
went
did
to see
watch
an
that.
apartment. Yeah, I went to see an apartment last week, and I've been going on apartments and homes all year, but one of the homes that most surprised me, it was a home that was already built, and it had all the furniture and stuff, but it was all smart home enabled, and it was all HomeKit enabled. So from every single switch, um, everything, it was so awesome.
Dude.
So I'm really looking at that apartment because it's actually a really nice apartment as well, and I like the HomeKit aspect of it. It had light, it had sun. It didn't really have a big balcony, which is something that I was looking for, but I think sun and HomeKit is more important than a nice balcony. So I'm debating with that one as well. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
yeah, especially since it works with HomeKit. Like, that's already a big like
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I've got,
buying factor, I guess.
you
Because
know,
there aren't.
go ahead.
Yeah, so go ahead.
So like being part of whatever you call it, like just collaborating with Apple. I've got so many HomePods in the house. Like I don't even know where to put this many HomePods. So I'm excited to have a larger house and actually having all those HomePods actually making sense, and having a home that's actually HomeKit enabled. It's gonna be so awesome to just have so many HomePods and just for it to make sense.
What do you think is going to be the next best thing, or the future of like any iPhone, iPad, USB-C or portless?
I mean, when portless, for me, when having a portless iPhone is equally as good, and you've got the same benefits as Lightning or USB-C, of course, portless, but we still don't have that. So I'd say having ports is better. But eventually, I'm sure it will get there. Eventually, AirDrop is a good example. I mean, if AirDrop keeps getting better,
Yeah.
and it will get better, it's gonna be crazy. I mean, there's nothing in the market that is equally as fast as AirDrop, and it works so well. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Android has their excuse of whatever it's called. I forgot what the name is. Theirs is terrible though compared to AirDrop.
Yeah,
It doesn't work as well, and it doesn't work on, like, you can't even kind of AirDrop to Windows devices or anything. It's just that it just works from Google phone to Google phone. But yeah, so I guess those were all the questions we had. Unless Taylor, you've thought of any in like the past 30 seconds.
No.
I'll answer. Give me one spicy question. I'll answer anything you want, unless it's something I can't say, and then I'll say I can't say. You guys can ask me about.
Here's one. Do you think Apple will ever get into making their own smart home devices? Like their own smart bulbs, their own smart plugs, things like that.
Knowing Tim Cook, maybe yes. If it was for Steve Jobs, no. I hope not. I hope not, because I like having a HomeKit ecosystem. I like how there's just so many different brands. I hope not.
Let me ask you this: if Steve Jobs were here today, do you think Apple would be where it is?
Yeah. I mean, and something that I miss about Steve is just the crazy ideas that he had, and you don't see that today's with today's Apple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
I think if Steve were still, I think we'd see a lot more crazier products. I think if Steve was still here.
Yeah.
And who knows? So there's some people that say would still have the iPhone 3GS design or iPhone 4 design. Probably not. But yeah, those were all the questions we had. Do you have any questions for us, Nikias, before we wrap up today's episode?
What's your dream? Like for me, my dream was to collaborate with Apple, and for my next dream is to attend to an Apple keynote. In terms of YouTube, I've got other dreams, but in terms of YouTube, that's where I want to become. What's both of yours dream inside of the YouTube world? Is it collaborating with Apple? Is it collaborating with a certain company? Is it reaching a number of subscribers? Is it going full time? Like what's your current?
I think the biggest dream for me is just to become a full-time content creator. I'd love to just like work for myself and not have to work for someone else. And even like collaborating with Apple would be sick. But I think that the biggest goal just going full-time. I think that's all I really want.
Yeah, no, same exact thing for me. Seeing that, like, I have disabilities and stuff, and for me, it would just be convenient to work from home. And I've been trying to like look for something. It's hard out there, so to make YouTube, a full-time thing would be amazing for me, considering it's what I love doing. And I'm hoping to get there someday, but it's gonna take time, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, something that sounds really cliche and something that everybody says, but it's something that not a lot of people take it very seriously. Is like literally every single video you make, you gotta get better in every single aspect. Like really study everything and analyze what you do, and analyze what you're bad at, and analyze what you're good at. Get your strengths and really push that forward. John Prosser, he's got a really strong personal brand. People told him he was funny, so now he just got funnier, right? And the things he was worst at, he stopped doing, and the things that he was good at, he started pushing that, right? In terms of the YouTube SEO, right? People are so worried about it, but really study what works and doesn't work in your channel. And I'm talking about content. And on your YouTube analytics, you'll see the top 30, top 10 videos that have performed most well this month. Repeat those top 5 videos and do them all over again. Change it up a bit, right? Just keep doing what YouTube tells you that you're doing good at, right? And then experiment with other things, but just repeat what does well and just keep getting better at that. And that's for me the secret to success. I mean, just improve what you're not good at and improve what you are good at is incredible. But really take that into consideration. Like just analyze your channel and what you're good at.
Yeah, that's great advice. That's definitely something that I've been trying to do, kind of like even maybe not like drastically improving every video, because that can be kind of challenging sometimes, but like improving by 1% increments, which eventually will be like, well, after 100 videos, you've improved 100%. Kind of thing. So
I think you can even improve drastically video after video. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to
that too.
be production wise, but I really think the mindset of just like, let's take summer for example, right? Because summer students are free, or a lot of people are more free in the summer. You've got all the time that you want. And a lot of people can go full time on YouTube really quickly if they really have that drastic mindset on improving a lot. I'm not talking about production wise, right? Because you can get burnt out on like not knowing what to do and knowing how to improve. But really having that mindset of, okay, I have 3 months. The summer is 3 months. I'm gonna try to go full time within this summer, right? Because that's possible. And people have gone full time in 1 month because they've just done things really well, or they've just uploaded a lot of videos, or they've just uploaded a couple really, really good videos. Right? So, I mean, yeah, I think just have that mindset of going drastically improving video after video. Maybe this week I'm just improving on my titles. All week I'm just gonna write 1,000 titles on, and I'm just gonna see which one gets the most clicks, drastically improving thumbnails. But I'm not good at titles or thumbnails. Well, I'm sure you know somebody that knows how to do thumbnails. Contact him. He doesn't reply. Contact him again until he replies and he gets you getting a better thumbnail or title. Like, people will want to help you,
Oh yeah, and that's what I love about the tech community is like people have been so helpful over the years, and it's awesome.
Yeah. So just ask for help for the things that you don't. I don't know how to do a lot of things, and I just ask people that know how to do certain things.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. All right. Well, that I think is everything we have for today. Thank you so much, Nikias, for taking the time out of your day to join us and to discuss some good old tech news and everything. It's been fun to have you on. Maybe we'll have you on again in the future at some point. That'd be really cool. But yeah, for everybody who's listening or watching, thank you for listening or watching up until this point. If you want to go and have a look at like anything we talked about during the show, we will drop some show notes in the description or in the show notes of the podcast thing you're listening to. If you want to follow me, Taylor, or Nikias, all the links for those will be in the description below. Thanks so much for tuning in. This was episode 30 of the Tech Unlocked podcast. We will catch you guys next week.
Peace.